Celebrities you didn't know were Muslim. Lil Durk is a music artist that, although is not a perfect Muslim, he is a practicing Muslim. Durk was raised Christian and decided to convert to Islam in his early 20s.
Now he tries to spread the word of Allah through his music or in interviews.
What is our job as men? Maintenance. All right, let's start physical and go spiritual and go big. Well, maintenance means you can't have the woman hungry and raggedy. Is that right, sisters? You sharp as a tack. Got the latest style, fine shoes. Your wife got run over shoes. Tacky dress. Can't get her hair done or weaved or something. There's a big difference between revealing and teaching. What God revealed to Muhammad was this Quran. But he never taught Muhammad the inner meanings of the Quran. Some tafsir the Prophet had. He explained aspects of the book, but not all of it, because he didn't have it all. That was reserved for the latter time. Please bear with me. But when the Messiah comes, if you look on the back page of the final call and the Muhammad speaks, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad writes, and lastly, we believe that Allah came in the person of Master W.F. Muhammad, the long-awaited Messiah of the Christians and Mahdi of the Muslims. Boy. And lastly, he said, and that's very important, and lastly, we believe there is no God but Allah. And he will set up a universal government of peace wherein we all can live in peace, freedom, justice, and equality. The reason that Elijah Muhammad was given 104 books to study, the best of which he said was the Quran, and all other 103 was some aspect of the life of the prophet, is that Elijah Muhammad would have to study the way the prophet established Islam in Arabia in order to understand how we should go about establishing Islam in the United States of America. And if you study the history of the prophet and look at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and study him, you will see that he was absolutely in step with the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad. Now, I'm going to show you this because I've watched this. If you don't study the history of the prophet, you won't even see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad clearly. The prophet used to do most of his teaching at the dinner table. Prophet Muhammad. It would come around the dinner hour and they would sit, and that's when he would teach. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did most of his teaching at the dinner table. People would come from all over the world, sit at his dinner table, and there he would teach them. And there he would teach us. And no matter how big the person was, if a child came in the room, he would stop what he was doing, turn his attention to the child, play with the child until the child was satisfied, send the child away, and then return to teach us. That's exactly what the prophet did. Do you know who it was? Thank you. Do you know who it was that the prophet whose wife died and 3 years later the end came? It was Prophet Muhammad. His wife Aisha died, and 3 years after her death, the flight, Hijrah. And Ali was put in the prophet's stead, in his place, in his bed, and the prophet fled, and then Islam began. Not from Mecca, but from Medina. Jesus of 2,000 years ago was a prophet. "75% of what you read in the Bible is not referring to Jesus the prophet, but is referring to Jesus the Messiah." How could Jesus the prophet have said, "Some of you that are here will not see death until the kingdom of God is established"? That's been 2,000 years, brother.
Celebrities you didn't know were Muslim. Little Durk is a music artist that, although is not a perfect Muslim, he is a practicing Muslim. Durk was raised Christian and decided to convert to Islam in his early 20s.
Now he tries to spread the word of Allah through his music or in interviews.